Hello friends, welcome back to your own channel Wealth Saga Global. Balance sheet video was long outstanding which I could not make, but today I have made this balance sheet video in which all the taboos, all the various terms which you were always confused about will be clarified in this very important video, provided you give your 20-25 minutes to me peacefully and watch this video completely thoroughly. And let me tell you, I guarantee you that you will never be afraid of reading any kind of balance sheet. All the terms related to balance sheet, all the aspects with respect to company's balance sheet have been covered in this video, very lucid and very simplified form. So of course my pro tips are there, that which companies are there which you should avoid reading their balance sheet. I will also take the live example of a company in which I will be explaining how to read their balance sheet. But before that, if you have not subscribed to the channel till now, you are missing out a lot of action. I do not want you to miss out that action. Immediately subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so that you keep getting regular updates whensoever we post a new video. Without wasting any further time, let's begin. So the topics which are being covered in this video, although the topics are only 5, but the video is very detailed. Now, what is balance sheet and what are the essential aspects of balance sheet which you must know? There are a number of terminologies, a number of jargons which are there, which you are not able to understand. Complete explanation of all terms will be given in this very important video, and what are the mistakes which you should avoid while reading the balance sheet. And of course, I will be covering my pro tips in between the video so that you do not miss any comment. I request you all to give your 20-25 minutes of your life, and let me tell you, this video is worth it. Now, as always, I always touch upon from very grassroots level, very basic, so that even a beginner can become a zero, can also become hero by the end of the video. So I will be covering the things from a very basic. So just remain with me. Okay, so if we talk about basics of balance sheet, first of all, I want to clarify that every company performs and posts its results in a year. Now, financial year in India begins from 1st of April to 31st of March. However, in other countries like US, the financial year begins from 1st of January to 31st of December. Now, in India, every company posts its results in every quarter, that is after every 3 months. The first quarter is from 1st of April till 30th of June. That is called quarter number 1. Quarter number 2 ends in September. Quarter number 3 ends on 31st of December. And quarter number 4 ends on 31st of March. So basically, there are 4 quarters after every 3 months. That's why it's called quarter. Quarter means 1/4. Now, every quarter results are posted after every 3 months. However, the company completely gives the complete results of complete full financial year after the end of complete financial year, that is on last quarter of the year or last quarter of the financial year, that is 31st March happens to be the quarter in which the complete financial statement of the company is issued. Now, that complete financial financial analysis is given in that annual result. That is a very important document which you must read, and I will explain you how to read that today. Now, balance sheet gives out the complete details of company's functioning, how it is functioning, how it has been functioning, what are the dues, what are the payables, everything is given. I will be explaining to you subsequently. Okay, balance sheet equation. What does balance sheet mean? Balance sheet is divided into 2 parts, simply 2 parts, assets and liabilities. Okay, assets and liabilities. So assets is equals to liabilities, because it's like a balance. Okay, in a balance, there is always asset and liabilities which are equal, because assets are the dues which company has to receive, whereas liabilities are those dues which company has to give. So assets are, simply put, what company has or company owns, and liabilities is what the company is yet to pay or company owes to others. So this is simply assets and liabilities, and assets are always equal to liabilities. Now I'll explain you what does asset and liabilities encompasses with a very simple example. Now, company owns building. Company owns building because it is on company's name. However, the company has taken loan to construct building. So company's building is the asset. However, the loan which the company has taken to construct that building is liability. Company has car, maybe one or two or maybe three, whatever cars or vehicles company has, they are assets of company. However, the company is paying EMIs to pay out those car loans. So that EMI happens to be liabilities. Company has few investments, investment in some properties, or maybe investment in some stocks, or maybe investment in some bonds. Those are company's assets. Okay. However, the company's short-term liabilities can be there, which company has to pay within 1 year. They are called short-term liabilities, and the company may have to pay some liabilities or maybe some loans more than 1 year. They're called long-term liabilities, whereas the company is having cash in their bank, that is called bank balance, and that bank balance is part of company's assets. So I'm sure you would have understood the company owns something, it is called asset, whereas the company owes something, that is called liability. Now, as a logical thinker, you would always be having a question in your mind how to assess assets and liabilities with a real life example. I'll just give you one more example. Like if a company has taken a loan of 100 crores, that's a liability, simply because company has to pay out that 100 crore loan. If not today, then tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then day after. However, company has purchased 80 crore rupees property, or maybe factory, or maybe plant and machinery. So that 80 crore investment is the company's assets, out of which the revenue will be generated, and the rest 20 crore which the company has kept in bank, that is called again assets, because they are also generating revenue in form of interest to the company. So that 20 crore which is kept in bank is also assets. However, that 100 crore loan is company's liability. Now, as a logical thinker, you would always be having a question in your mind that from which website we can find out the best analysis of company's fundamentals, company's balance sheet, and which one I use. I personally use the company's financial statement, which are released on every quarter results. I personally read them. However, there is a repository which is called Money Control app or website. It is a repository of complete financial year, financial year documents, maybe quarter results and financial year's annual results. It is complete repository of all results. So you can access Money Control app or website for getting the detailed analysis of any company's balance sheet which is listed in India. Now, as I told you, balance sheet has two parts. Balance sheet has two parts, that is assets and liabilities. Okay, so assets are always equal to liabilities. Now we will understand the liabilities first. Why? Because this is the thing from where the asset construction starts, because you need to have money, you need to have capital to raise a business. So that capital raising is part of liability. Okay, and when you utilize that capital for making assets, that comes onto the part of assets. So we will be understanding liabilities first. What is liability? How is capital generated? We are going to understand liabilities first. So whenever we talk about liability comprises of three parts. Simply put, it comprises of two parts. One is shareholders fund or shareholder equity, and the second one is the current and non-current liability, which is also called loan or debt. Okay, I hope you're with me. So when the shareholders fund is concerned, there are two kinds of funds which are taken into concern, and they both are equity share capital and shareholder funds. What are these? Let's understand all of these terms, that is shareholder fund, equity share capital, shareholders fund, non-current liability, and current liability. We'll understand threadbare. So for understanding, we will take the example of one of the stock, that is Reliance, which is #1 company of India. We simply have to go to moneycontrol.com website, and once we go and type the company's name, we get that details of this company, the Reliance Industries here. And once you get the details, you just have to click on financials. Once you click on financials, the balance sheet, P&L, quarter results, half yearly results, these all will come. So what are we going to study? We are going to study study balance sheet. So once you click balance sheet here, the balance sheet drops in. So this is the balance sheet of Reliance Industries of March 2020, March 2019, 18, 17, 16. So whatever you want to read, whatever you want to analyze, you can analyze, but we are going to analyze the balance sheet of Reliance Industries for March 2020. So the first thing which you see is equities and liabilities. Assets are below. Okay, so we are going to study the liabilities first, and the very first term which comes ahead on the top is shareholders fund. Now shareholder fund comprises of two things. Simply put, two things. One is equity share capital, and the second one is reserves and surplus. So what does equity share capital mean? When the company was raised, or when the company raised money, there are two ways of raising money. Let's understand that also. See, whenever the company is raised, it requires fund, it requires money to run the business, to construct the assets, and so that revenue can be generated. So there are two ways of raising funds. One is debt financing. Either you take loans from bank and keep paying them regular interest, or the simple way, or rather the better way, is to give the equity financing. That is, you give the shares of your company, raise the money, and of course the people who give you the money by taking shares, they become the partner of the company. So how about becoming the partner of Mukesh Ambani? Isn't it good? It is, of course it is. How good is this becoming the partner of Hindustan Unilever Limited, the multinational company? Isn't it? You just have to buy the share, give them money, and become the partner of that big company. But the point in debt financing is that once the company grows, the bank doesn't get benefit. The company, the bank gets benefited by the irregular interest which the company has to pay. For that matter, the bank doesn't care whether the company is performing good or not. Whereas, as a shareholder, you are bothered whether the company is performing good or not, because you are not getting anything. What you are getting is company's performance, company's profits as part of dividend. So as a shareholder, you want company to perform well, whereas bank doesn't care whether company is performing well or not. However, as a matter of fact, there are two ways of fundraising. One is debt financing by taking the loan from bank, and equity financing, that is by issuing the share and raising the capital. As a matter of fact, the dividend which is issued to shareholder is decided always by the board of directors. So whenever the question arises who decides the dividend is decided by the board of directors. I also want to touch upon a very, very important point, that there are kind of two kinds of shareholders. One is preferential shareholders and the other one are common shareholders. The common shareholders are like you and me, who have bought the stocks of company from exchange, from NSE, BSE, from your broker, app, Zerodha, whatever. So once you buy those shares from listed companies, those are called common shares. Okay, so we are common shareholders. But however, there are few preferential shareholders who buy the shares of company with the guarantee that they will be paid the dividends, the profits, whether the company performs good or bad, or not very good or not very bad. Howsoever company performs, they will be given part of profits as dividend. So they are called preferential shareholders. That is, they have got the preference in payout of dividend. And of course, as a common shareholder, we may or may not be given dividend based upon the performance of company. If company performs well, we are given dividend, and if the company doesn't perform well, we are not given dividends. Now the question which would be arising in your mind is that shareholders are the owners, and shareholders capital is not a liability. Okay, but why the shareholder capital has been kept as part of liability? So my dear friends, I want to clarify that shareholder fund is liability because company owes that amount, and company has to pay that capital to the shareholder. And so that is the reason why this amount which the shareholders have given does not belong to that company. It belongs to shareholders. Although the company has given them shares, but company owes them that capital. That is the reason why it is part of liability. Now, what is this equity share capital and how it is raised? Simply, when the company is raised, the shares are issued in the form of face value that I will be touching upon. Now, what is reserves and surplus? The shareholder fund comprises of equity share capital, which I told you, and the reserves and surplus. Reserves and surplus are those earnings which are accrued, which are collected, which are accumulated in due course of time because of company's good profits. Company earns profit, it gives part of amount as dividend, and the rest amount which is saved, company saves it as part of surplus, which company utilizes it in future as part of its expansion plans. Now, for an example, if the company has raised the capital by issuing share of face value of suppose 1 or 2 or 5 or 10, for example, the Reliance share face value is 10 rupees. Okay, so share capital is equals to face value into number of common shares. Now you already know the share capital of Reliance, how much it is. The share capital of Reliance is 6339. So if you divide it with 10, so you get to know what? You get to know the number of outstanding common shares of Reliance Industries, because face value into number of common shares is equals to share capital. So share capital divided by face value will be number of common outstanding shares. This is very simply put, but the company is listed at higher price. The Reliance share prices are running at 2000 rupees and not rupees 10. So that approximately 1990 price is called share premium, and that extra premium becomes the part of this reserves and surplus. In addition to that, the company saves earnings, that also becomes the part of reserves and surplus. So this is amount which the company has accrued as part of share premium plus the regular accumulation of the profits which company has done in due course of time. Now we have understood one part of liabilities, that is shareholders fund. Now we will understand the second part of liability, which is non-current liability, and the third part is current liability. So we are going to understand non-current liability. What does it entail? So non-current liability comprises of long-term borrowing, deferred tax liability, other long-term liabilities, and long-term provision. And non-current liabilities comprises of these things. So we will understand one by one. What does long-term liability means? So company has taken loans which are long term, suppose 4 to 5 years, that comes as part of long term liability, which in the case of Reliance is 197,631 crores. If you talk about the deferred tax liability, so these are the taxes which are yet to be paid by the company, which have yet not been paid. So in case of Reliance, 54123 crore is the tax which the Reliance is yet to pay, and it has not paid as on date. If we talk about other long-term liability, so there are various other types of liability a company owes, like the company has taken probably some land as lease or some property where the company has to pay the agreed payments like rent, lease, or maybe some other payments. So these are other long-term liabilities which are not covered as part of these. Now last part is long-term provision. What does this mean? So in case of Reliance, the long-term provision is 1790. So long-term provisions are done for catering into any contingency which the company foresees and in future it may come. For example, if we talk about banks, so if we talk about banks, the bank also cater for a lot of provisioning. Why do they cater? Because they foresee that there can be a lot of debts, or maybe bad loans, or maybe bad NPAs. The NPA may get more, so they provide, that is they save, they keep aside some capital which is called long-term provisions. So this is also part of non-current liabilities. Okay, for other companies like non-banking companies like Reliance or maybe HUL or maybe some electronic companies, they may be catering for some provisions. For what reason? There may be some products which may be in warranty and are being returned back. There are some car manufacturing companies which are having their which are launching their cars, but their cars do not perform well during their warranty period, so they have to take back that product, and that expenditure is met out of long-term provisions. So simply put, provisions are catering for uncertainties like bad loans in banks or failed warranty in terms of products. Now this is what is non-current liability, means long-term liability. Now we are talking about current liabilities. That means these liabilities have to be paid within 1 year, within a very short span of time of within 1 year. These liabilities have to be paid, and they are short-term borrowings, trade payables, other current liabilities, and short-term provisions. So what is short-term loan? Which is to be paid within 1 year. Trade payables are outstanding payments. Okay, their suppliers payment which is to be done within 30 to 50 days. The supplier has given the amount, the supplier has given the raw material to you, however you have yet not paid the capital, the balance of the payment has yet not been done to the supplier. So this is yet to be paid. You owe this, your company owes this, Reliance owes this amount, and this amount is that Reliance owes is 96,799. This much amount raw material Reliance has taken but yet not paid. So this is what is called trade payables. Other current liabilities are those liabilities which have yet not been covered in part of these two. They can be rent, or they can be salaries, or they can be various other payments, small payments which the company has to do. In case of Reliance, the other current liabilities which it has to pay within 1 year is 2,20,441 crore. And the short-term provisions are those amounts which the company provides that the contingencies or the unforeseen disadvantage or maybe problems which company foresee that they may come within 1 year. They are called short-term provisions, and Reliance has kept 1890 crore amount for short-term provision for short-term uncertainties. Now this is what is all about the liabilities. Now you have seen that liability gets over here. Now if you add all of these, that is the shareholder fund plus non-current liabilities plus current liabilities, you come to total capital and liabilities, that is 116,915. So this is the total amount in crores, of course, that Reliance has as a liability. Now we will study more about assets here. What are assets of Reliance? Now if we see the assets are also of three parts rather. That is non-current assets. Non-current means the long-term assets, that is they cannot be converted into cash within 1 year. The fixed assets, again they are fixed assets which cannot be converted into liquid form very soon. And the current assets means those assets which can be liquefied and can be converted into cash within a very short span of time, within 1 year. So let's understand what does non-current assets mean. So as I told you, non-current assets are of three types: tangible assets, intangible assets, and capital work in progress. So what does tangible asset mean? Let's understand that. So as I told you, non-current assets are those long-term assets which cannot be converted to cash easily. Tangible assets are those, tangible means what? Tangible means which can be touched. Now what is the thing which can be touched? They are land, plant, machinery, vehicles, or maybe cars. So these are the tangible assets which the company has. Intangible assets are like software which the company has made, or maybe has installed, or those goodwill, patent, logo, these are the intangible assets which cannot be touched, which cannot be evaluated. However, they are important assets of company because company has gained them in due course of time and made them. So they are intangible assets. They are also part of non-current assets. And of course, capital, that is work under progress. So which are the work under progress? Let's understand that also. Like in case of Reliance, tangible assets are 435,920 crores, intangible assets are 86,479 crores. These are softwares or the goodwill of company, or the patents which Reliance has made. They are worth 86,479 crores. Now capital work in progress means these are 59,096 crores. So this is the amount which company has as assets of various assets which are still under construction. It means what? There may be some factories, or maybe some refinery, or maybe some offices which are still under progress. They are under construction. They are being made. However, they are still as part of assets because they will fructify in due course of time. So capital work under progress means those offices or factory which is still under construction. So Reliance has those as well. So all tangible assets depreciate. You must always keep this in your mind, that all the tangible assets, these all tangible assets, land, plant, machinery, they depreciate except land never depreciate, rather this appreciate. But a very important point to note is that the cost of land in balance sheet is kept same at the very price at which it has been bought. That is, if a piece of land has been bought for example in 1 million, that is 10 lakh rupees, so it will be kept as 1 million only even after 20 years of balance sheet. It will never be increased. So the company, those companies which are having lot of land on their balance sheet are considered to be very high potential companies, because they have those lands, the land value increases, however balance sheet does not cater for them. So the depreciation of tangible assets is generally 10%, and the non-tangible assets also depreciate, but that depreciation is called amortization. If you want to know something more about depreciation and amortization, let me know in the comment section. I will make this separate video on that. Now we have understood what are non-current assets. Those are non-current means long-term assets. Now we are going to understand about the fixed asset. Fixed asset means those assets which are fixed and cannot be liquidated easily, or maybe company doesn't want them to liquidate easily. Now fixed asset comprises of what? It comprises of non-current investment, deferred tax assets, long-term loans and advances, and other non-current assets. So non-current investment are long-term investment. Non-current means not current. Not current investment means this investment in stocks, bonds. People do not invest in stocks for short term. Good companies do not invest in stocks for long. They invest in stocks for long term only. So non-current investments are investment in stocks. Deferred tax assets are prepaid taxes like GST. There are many taxes which are prepaid in advance. So those are called deferred tax assets. Long-term loans and advances, the advance payment which has been done to employees or suppliers, they are part of long-term loans and advances which company has given as loans. Company has given as advance to their supplier or to their employees. That is part of long-term loans and advances. And other non-current assets which are not covered in above three, like long-term assets like interest on FDs, etc. Company has a lot of FDs in banks. They are also part of non-current assets. So in case of Reliance, you can see the non-current assets are 37,407. Other long-term loans and advances are 21,732. They are deferred tax assets. These are the taxes which Reliance has already paid. And non-current investment, that is investment in stocks, bonds, etc. In case of Reliance is 2,03,852. So these are the investment where Reliance has made as fixed investment. Now we have studied about two parts of assets, that is non-current assets and fixed assets. Now we are going to study the third and the final part of assets, which is current asset. What does current mean? Current means which can be liquidated within 1 year. So current assets means what? Current investment, inventories, trade receivables, cash and cash equivalents, short-term loans, other current assets. Now we will understand them one by one. Current investment means current investment means those short-term investment which are done liquid funds, or maybe some short-term FDs which can meet short-term expenses. Now what is inventory? Inventory is of three types. That is raw material. Raw material is also an inventory, by the way. Let me tell you. The work in progress, for example, if you have taken some spare parts, some spare parts are raw material. Now the if an automobile company is there, if you've taken some spares, they are raw material. However, when the car is under manufacturing, that is called work in progress, and once the car is completely made, that is called finished good. So all these three parts are called inventory. So in case of Reliance, you can see that inventory is 73903. So these are the raw material which Reliance has, the under construction inventory, and of course the final product which is ready to launch. They comprises of 73903 in terms of in case of Reliance. What does trade receivable mean? Trade receivable is opposite to trade payable. Trade payable means what? Trade payable means trade payable means the outstanding payments of supplier which was to be done within 30 to 50 days. Now trade receivable means the you have given the, you have supplied the amount, you have supplied the product to the to other person, however you are yet to receive the payment. Okay, in that case you had to supply. In trade receivable, you are yet to receive the payment. So since you are yet to receive the payment, that is an asset to you. Why? Because that amount is yet to come. You don't owe that amount, that other person owes that amount to you, so it's an asset to you. However, in case that supplier fails to pay that amount to you, that becomes a bad debt. Why? Because that supplier has failed to pay that amount and that asset has gone bad to you, so that becomes a bad asset for you. So if you talk about Reliance, so you can see, if you talk about Reliance, you can see trade receivables are approximately 20,000 crore. So 20,000 crore amount is due to Reliance. That means Reliance has yet to receive 20,000 crore as trade receivables. Cash and cash equivalent means these are the cash equivalent which Reliance has, which it can liquidate any given point of time. Short-term loans which it has given to its employees, or maybe some other suppliers, which it can liquidate any given point of time. And other current assets include 60,197 crore. Current assets means those assets which can be liquidated in due course of time, however not covered in the above parts. Apart from that, there are some other parts also which are covered in footnote of the company's balance sheet, which you must read and go through, which are given subsequently in the annual results. If I explain to you the cycle of cash flow, which simplified cash flow, although if you want to know the cash flow of company in a detailed manner, let me know in the comment section. If I talk about simplified cash flow, the cash flow can be divided as, rather it has flow as like this. The company generates cash, the company raises loan or raises capital. Thereafter it arranges the raw material inventory, which goes under production. It goes to work in progress inventory, finished good inventory. Thereafter it supplies the goods, and that becomes the trade receivable, where it is due to it is yet to receive the payment. And once the payment is received, it again goes to cash. So this is the easy cash flow of a company, simplified. If you want to know detailed, let me know in the comment section that yes, you want to know. You can write yes. I will try to make a video on that sooner. So I hope you've understood the concept of balance sheet, which I have tried to make it very simplified. In case there happens to be any question, let me know in the comment section. I will be glad to know. And please share this with your friends who are afraid to read the balance sheet, or they do not know what does those terms in balance sheet mean. Please share it with your friends so that they also get enlightened and empowered. Enlightened is not the right word. They must get empowered. That's all from my side, friends. Thank you so much for giving your precious time, and bye-bye for now.